Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Alicia Branham, author, speaker, coach, and founder of Brand Marketing, and this is the Alicia Branham Podcast. Today, I would like to talk to you about why marketing is no longer optional anymore in your business, right? This is one of the biggest things that I know is a problem inside of the industries that I serve right now. So listen, I want to be really clear about why I'm recording this episode today, right? Marketing is no longer optional for running a legitimate modern business, and it needs to be budgeted for the same way you budget for things like accounting, IT, or even maintenance on your home, right? Listen, it's not a luxury, it's not a nice to have, but as a part of the cost of staying credible. And if that feels uncomfortable, especially in industrial and commercial spaces, you're not wrong. But it's a mindset shift. And frankly, friends, it is well overdue. So I want to start this conversation, though, today from a place of honesty, because it's something that I've really noticed about myself all the time. I look people up all the time. Before meetings, before phone calls, before deciding how seriously I'm going to take a conversation with these folks, right? I Google their name, I pull up LinkedIn, I click through on their website to see if they even have one. And what's interesting is that I don't even think about it anymore. It's kind of a part of me. But here's the thing, I work in marketing. You kind of expect that of me. But that's not surprising for most people anymore. I'm not the exception. That's just how people operate right now. We all do this, not because we're trying to be critical, not because we're shallow, but because we live in a world where information is instant and first impressions are formed before we even realize what's happening. And what I find fascinating is how quickly a story can start to form. You haven't even spoken to a person yet. You don't know their background. You haven't even seen how they actually work, but based on what you see or don't see, expectations start to take shape, right? They establish how you feel about them. You look about how professional they might seem or how seriously you should take them, right? And again, this is not intentional behavior. It's human behavior. And that behavior, that quiet research, that quick scan, the instant impression is exactly why marketing is no longer optional. Because whether you like it or not, this is where a lot of businesses, especially in industrial and commercial industries, are still operating on outdated assumptions. Listen, historically, these industries didn't need to care about how they looked as much, right? Because business was built on relationships, on reputation passed hand to hand, on longevity and trust earned over years. If you did good work, that was enough. If people knew your name, that carried weight. If you showed up and delivered, marketing wasn't necessary, right? And for a long time, that worked. Marketing felt optional, design felt unnecessary, looking polished felt like something other industries had to worry about. Not this one, right? And again, for a long time, that approach worked. But I have to tell you, the environment has changed. Not abruptly, not dramatically. It's changed slowly, but then honestly, it's changed all at once. Today, anyone can look up your business in seconds. Not just your long-term customers, not just someone who understands your industry. Anyone, a younger decision maker, a procurement professional who doesn't know your industry, a potential hire deciding whether or not they want to work for you. And when they look you up, they don't see your decades of experience. They see your presentation, good, bad, and ugly, right? This is why we need to talk about marketing as maintenance, not as promotion. Because what people see, your website, your branding, your digital presence, is doing the work long before sales ever gets involved, right? It's answering questions you don't get a chance to explain. Is this company credible? Are they stable? Are they professional? Should I trust them? And the answer is being formed whether you are intentional about it or not. This is where I see the biggest disconnect, right? Something I constantly see with these excellent businesses that I work with is that they're strong industrial companies. They have incredible products, right? They have incredibly smart leadership, but the way they show up does not reflect who they are. They have outdated websites, inconsistent branding, little to no digital presence. And the gap between who they are and how they appear keeps widening. That gap costs trusts. It costs momentum. It costs opportunity. Marketing isn't about being flashy, friends. It's not about trends. It's not about ego. It's about credibility. Just like your accounting protects your finances, marketing protects your reputation. And reputation is not something you can fix in a crisis. It's something you maintain over time. This is where the budgeting conversation has to shift. You don't budget for your house when something breaks, right? You plan for maintenance. You know systems need to be upkept. You know neglect creates bigger problems later. You know consistency costs less than emergencies. Marketing is no different. It's maintenance for your business's reputation, period. And when leaders finally see it that way, everything changes. What I see most often is businesses treating marketing reactively, right? A website update when things feel outdated, a brochure when you need a trade show event coming up or something, a logo refresh when you're embarrassed finally about your logo and you need to do something. That's not a system, friends. That's waiting for a problem to happen before taking action. Reactive marketing always feels expensive and frustrating. You know why? Because it's rushed, it's disconnected, and it's emotionally charged. When marketing has consistent support, internal and external, everything feels different. There's clarity, there's alignment, there's confidence, and suddenly your brand starts to match the quality of the work you actually do. And that only happens when marketing is treated like a real business function. This is why budgeting matters so much. Not budgeting for marketing sends a signal internally and externally about it's not your priority to show up that way. And that signal gets picked up by your sales team, by employees, by partners, and by the market at large. And if it's not planned for, friends, it's not protected. Support doesn't always mean a full in-house marketing department too. It just means ownership. Someone who's responsible for consistency, message, visual integrity, and long-term thinking. That might be an internal hire. That could be an external partner. And it could be a hybrid of both. But just saying, we'll just deal with it when something comes up, man, that's avoidance. That's not a strategy. Marketing isn't optional anymore because visibility isn't optional anymore. You are being seen whether you're intentional about it or not. The only question is whether what people see reflects the business you've actually built. So here's what I want you to think about after this episode. If someone looks your business up today on their phone in 10 seconds or less, what story are they getting about you? Does it reflect the effort you put in every day? Does it match the pride you have in your work? Does it communicate trust? Because people are already deciding, friends, right? Marketing support isn't a luxury anymore. It's maintenance. And businesses that don't understand that don't just look better, they grow better. And maintenance issues are fixable when you decide to treat them like a running part of a business. Marketing is no longer optional, friends. Not because the world is louder, but because it's faster. And businesses that budget for their reputation the same way they budget for everything else don't just look better, they grow stronger. Listen, if this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who still sees marketing as a burden instead of an infrastructure, right? And take an honest look at whether your business is getting the support it deserves. Because your reputation is already working. The question is whether it's working for you. Listen, if something in this episode hit close to home, that's not an accident. Follow me and subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss the next episode. And please share it with someone who needs to hear it. I'll see you on the next episode of the Alicia Branham Podcast.